Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. You know, a lot of people don't think that miracles happen in this day and age, but they really do. I've kind of figured that my body is a miracle, that it even works, you know. I, billions upon billions of cells all communicating with each other, all interacting, sending hormones here and there, sending blood cells here and there. Uh, Making everything work, interacting with nerves. You know, when a baby is born, there's thousands of new neural connections happening every second. It's just amazing. I see it all as a miracle. There's no doubt about that. But there are some true miracles. There was a doctor who was living in Canada. He was from India, and he'd gone to India with his family, and they were sitting and having breakfast one morning, and all of a sudden he just dropped over, and his wife was going frantic and didn't know what to say, and just screaming, get a, get an ambulance, get a doctor, help me. And then she looked up and said, God, please help. And then they took him off to the hospital, and they did some tests, and they found out that he had a heart attack and also a stroke at the same time. And so he wanted even a little more better care. He had slurred speech, and he wasn't able to really walk well, and he was having a hard time getting around. But so they went back to Canada, and then they actually, in Canada, usually for them, at that time, it was taking about 6 months or so to get in to see a specialist, but they were able to get in 2 weeks, so that was a miracle in itself. And then they went in to see the doctor, and they ran more tests. So they came back, and the person who had the doctor who had the stroke and the heart attack was just feeling better. He was starting to feel like himself. And so they did some more tests and ran them all. They checked his heart, the EKGs, they did angiogram. They did also, they checked on his brain about, if he really did have a stroke and everything. And but because they did know he had a stroke, because when they first went in, they did a few little tests, but then they wanted to see, if it had progressed. So when they went to see the doctor again, the doctor couldn't believe it. He held up the chart, and he goes, I can't believe this. It's as though you never had a heart attack or you never had a stroke. It just doesn't make sense. And the whole family was just like, wow, amazing. But they knew what it was all about. They were praising God and loving God, and in great gratitude that their father, which was a doctor, didn't succumb to a heart attack and also a terrible stroke. So we can overcome these things if we basically just love God, the universe, and Great Spirit. There's another man. This was a guy who was another doctor also, and he had colon cancer, and he had written a letter to John of God, and they actually went down to see him, and then he came back, and then he wrote another letter to John of God, and they were about to do surgery at the hospital he worked in to go in and dissect out all this cancer in his colon. And it was through almost all of his colon, but there was spots here, spots here, spots there. They already did the, colonoscopy, and they could see that, and they really had to do going in and do some things. So he ended up writing this letter to John of God, and so he said, well, the doctors at the hospital came to him and said, well, we got to go in and take these tumors out. There's nothing we can do. We got to do this. So they got him prepped and ready. And the next morning he was, ready to go in. And But he was said, wait a minute, I got to pray. So he started praying, and he asked God to help him, and he also made a little prayer to John of God. And then took him to surgery. They opened him up, exploratory laparotomy, went into his colon, looked around, and what? And, and they sewed him back up. And he was in recovery, and the doctor came into the recovery room and said, are you sure you didn't go somewhere and have a surgery done? Because there are old surgery marks where somebody went in and, better than we could do, take out each one of these tumors. And it was like it was done with super precision, and it looked like it's been done a long time ago. There are old, slight scars there that we can see where there was resection done. And then the doctor who had the surgery done to him, he's going, no, I didn't have a surgery. No, I didn't go check myself into another hospital and have it done. Why would I do that a second time here? And so, but he knew exactly what had happened. God, with his great precision, had gone in there and taken out each one of these tumors. And it was just an amazing miracle. And that's in this day and age. There's no doubt about that. And then there are so many more miracles. I think that people don't hear about these, There was back in 1995, Ganesha, this is Ganesh here, is one of the Hindu saints. And it was in all the areas of the world, they would offer milk to Ganesh, and all of a sudden the milk would disappear. And everybody saw that. So they had it on video and everything. And it was like an amazing, amazing thing. We have miracles happening in all different sects and cultures and religions and different things. It doesn't happen to just one particular group. There is a Buddhist temple in the U.S. also. They have a tooth that was from Buddha. And they have said that every year it gets a little bit bigger because of the great gratitude and love that they feel that's in this temple about Buddha and his great wisdom that he passed on to people, and great love and caring and helping people to find peace and let go of suffering. So there are another modern day miracle, and then we have these things happening all the time. There are even things about people passing away. Sai Baba was actually had a devotee that was with him for many, many years. And him and his wife would come to India all the time. And one day he was feeling bad, and all of a sudden he dropped over dead. And Sai Baba happened to be at another place at the time, and he wasn't at Puttaparthi. And so they took him to the hospital. They pronounced him dead. They took him to the morgue. They put, even cotton and gauze in his mouth and his nose, and he was laying there, and they put him in a body bag, and his heart wasn't beating or anything. And then Sai Baba came. He came to him and touched him, removed the cotton, and the man got up. It was like a couple hours later, after he was dead. And his wife was ecstatic because he got up at the morgue and walked out. and they said that, and he even knew that it was the great love of God that had healed him and brought him back. We have amazing miracles happen all the time. Look at Dr. Nemi. Dr. Nemi heals lots of people with the blessings of the Lord Savior. The man who had a broken back, couldn't move his legs. He was paralyzed, and then all of a sudden Dr. Nemi touches him, and all of a sudden his legs start moving, and he's able to move around. I was like, wow. a lady who had cancer, breast cancer, and it metastasized through her lungs. And after she had met Dr. Nemi, all of a sudden the metastasis disappeared completely, and the cancer disappeared completely. That's another great miracle. I had a particular person that I sent to see Dr. Nemi, and this particular person had schizophrenia, and he went back a few times, and now no more schizophrenia. I mean, and a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, and different people say it's not really curable. We can just treat it, but I tell you, it disappeared, and it all has to do with the love and faith, and that we have inside, and with connect with God. And there's great miracles happening around you too. You have the love of Great Spirit, the love of the universe, the love of God, the love of the collective consciousness of everything, which is there for you. So I ask you to pray, do your chanting, do your contemplation, do your meditation. If we would all meditate every day, this would be a totally different world. You know, I have sent many people to Vipassana meditation retreats, Vipassana, Vipassana meditation retreats, and they come back totally different people. You know, you're doing 8 to 10 hours of meditation every day, and all of a sudden, if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. You know, have somebody that's angry, or have somebody that's upset. I've even had people with Hashimoto's disease, which is thyroid disease, and all of a sudden their thyroid disease disappeared. I've had people who were always contemplating something, had their busyness in their mind all the time, and all of a sudden all of that disappears. If that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. So look around you. There are lots and lots of miracles. And if you feel free to connect with me, contact information is down below. Click on Show More, and also my email address is there, my phone number, and all my consultations are free, and my even herbal and spiritual. And so if you want to connect with me, please feel free. If you'd like to make a donation, please, click on the link down there for that also. That's greatly appreciated. And if you just want to talk sometime, I'm here for you. Remember, I go to bed early. And I live in Puerto Rico. That's on Atlantic Standard Time, which is an hour ahead of usually, well, right now it's an hour ahead of Eastern Standard Time. Pretty soon will be the same as Eastern Standard Time. And I go to bed at 8 o'clock, so call early. And I get up at 5, so call early, and I will be for sure help you in whatever way I can. I love you.